All right, as so many of you know, theme number 2, every Friday this year we do something called Friday with Friends. And it's something, I'll tell you what, I look forward to every week because I get to meet virtually, even virtually, and I love it because one day we will meet in person and it'll be like we were just friends forever. And I love being able to meet each of you and being able to have a one-on-one conversation because there is a lot that we can all learn from one another. So every week I keep it a secret until we're ready to do the interview. And today is one that I've been really looking forward to. Oh, I look forward to them every week. But this one in particular is a little bit different. And it's by popular demand that many of you asked for this person to be on 3 at 3. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Larry. Woohoo! Larry!
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a nice 56-degree day here south of Atlanta, so it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Larry, I have to tell you, okay, so when we first started in January doing this Friday Friends, I told people, email me if this is something you wouldn't mind joining me on 3 at 3 to share some tips or tricks or whatever it might be. I said, let me know you're here, that you wouldn't mind doing it. Well, I've had to reach out to a few people, right? Because I know it's hard for us to put ourselves out there. So I was really excited one day. I received all these emails and I thought, oh, yes, I've got tons of people who are going to want to be on 3 at 3. No, guess what they were saying? We want Larry. That's got to make you feel pretty darn good, right?
Well, it does, and hopefully I don't disappoint.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So, Larry, welcome to 3 at 3.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You live in Georgia. What part of Georgia are you at? And how long have you lived there? Tell us maybe a little bit about your family. We want to hear about you.
I'm in Stockbridge, Georgia. I'm just about 25 miles south of Atlanta,
Okay.
and about 10 miles away from my local quilt shop.
Uh-huh.
I'm originally from California, as you probably remember. I'm from Ontario,
Yes,
which is
I
not too
do.
far from where you grew up at.
That's right. Yep.
Um, and I've been with I've done several things in my working career, but my most one I feel the best about is my job at Delta Airlines. I've been there 30 years.
30
Working
years. Wow.
Yeah, I like to say it's because I don't look that old, but trust me, I do.
30 years.
I've
Wow.
done quite a few jobs there, and I'm now on corporate payroll time and attendance, which is probably where I'll stay for the next 10 years before I say, yay, I get to retire. And then I can sew all day long
Yeah.
because I don't get a lot of time to do that.
Well, I'm amazed at how much you actually accomplish because if you're working and then doing all of that too, yeah, I'm pretty impressed.
Well, I had set myself a goal last year during um, this lovely pandemic we've been going through, because before that, well, even during the pandemic, my average work week is 60 to 70 hours a week.
Wow.
But I wasn't doing anything else other than working, which I'm
Mhm.
grateful for. But I said,
Mhm.
you know what? I'm going to put away guaranteed 10 hours a week, whatever chunk of time I can do
Mhm.
towards my quilting. And I just said, that's
Mm.
it. I put the phones away. I turned the job off. I said, I'm going to do it. And I did.
Wow.
So it's been fun, you know. I was
Have you
fortunate enough to find. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I've been fortunate enough to find a lot of folks such as yourself through Cooped Up Quilters, the
Yes. Yeah.
first one that started way back,
Yeah.
and it's just been a wonderful journey. And there's so many great people out there
Yeah.
that do amazing things for not only their families but for their communities, and they just give back, and it just makes me enjoy this quilting community so much more.
Oh, definitely. Well, I think a lot of the our friends here have gotten to know you over different platforms, which is just awesome. How long have you been sewing, quilting, and how did you get
Um,
started?
Quilting, I probably started when I was 18 or 19. Before that,
Really?
I actually did garments. Yeah, I did shirts and things like that. My grandmother on my mama's side, she was quite the sewist. She would just walk past a window in the downtown square and look at a shirt or a dress or something, go home and make it. No pattern, no
Wow.
nothing. She would just go home and make it. Um, and then my dad's mom, she did some quilting and things, but she was more what I call the Reader's Digest, back to basics person.
Okay.
My dad's mom did everything from scratch, everything. Made her own patterns, and I just thought those things were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And my daddy spent a lot of time working with wood, and he used to tease me. He's like, I don't understand why you just cut up nice pieces of fabric sew back together." I said, I was like, yeah, and I was probably, 18 or 19. I said, well, Daddy, you do the same thing with wood,
That's
except
right.
I can ease my stuff in. You can't.
So
You have
true.
to go get a new piece of wood.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's so
So it's
true.
probably been, I'd say, 40 years I've been, doing some type of sewing, quilting, or crocheting. I did back in the day. You probably remember the strawberry shortcake rage.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Uh,
Yes.
yes, I did. I did all of those crochet dolls.
Really?
That was my pocket money when I was in high school, because I didn't have time to. My class load was quite a bit. I didn't have time to get a real job, so I did that. And
And you
I
made them and
probably
sold those?
made. Oh yeah, yeah. I had a couple
Wow.
of those. I probably made strawberry shortcake at least 100 times, and I think there was probably 15 or 20 different dolls in that family, and I made quite a few of those.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
That is something. And so, like with crochet, did you learn from someone else or did you just pick it up on your own?
I had an inkling, but actually, my daddy was good at that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do
Oh,
a lot of it, but he
okay.
totally understood the mechanics. And he said, "Well, this is how it works." Of course, I crochet different than most people. A lot of people are scoopers. I hold it like a pencil because that's what my daddy showed me. So my hook points up to,
Okay.
yeah, just like that. Where most people who crochet,
Are
they
doing
hold it
up.
this way,
Yeah.
and they scoop. I do it like a pencil. But yeah,
Oh,
my daddy showed me that. My
okay.
daddy had a lot of talents, and so did my mama. And they invested the time with their kids to find out what our interests were,
Mm-hmm.
and they just let us do those things. They didn't say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't do that because you're this, that, or the other." Whatever we wanted
Mm-hmm.
to do, they
They
allowed us to do.
encourage you to do it. Yes.
Yes,
Yes. I love that. An important lesson for us all, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Someone was asking if you still have any one of those dolls.
I do. They're actually they're at my mama's house. Of
Uh-huh.
course, my mama passed away 14 years ago, but
Mm.
they're there. They'll come to me at some point. I've got them all. My mama was a doll collector, and she
Hmm.
probably had close to probably 2,000 dolls.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and I bought her some dolls that from the early 30s. Like there, I got her an original Shirley Temple doll. I've got quite a few
Mm.
composition dolls from there that are
Mm-hmm.
all sitting at my mama's house right now.
Oh my goodness. Your father's still alive?
No, unfortunately, Daddy passed
Mm.
away in January of this year.
Okay.
Um, he got double pneumonia, and
Mm.
he was 82.
Mm.
It was a difficult time, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my daddy was he was quite the man,
Mm.
and I'm thankful for every year I had with him, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that he's not suffering.
Right. Right. How close did you live to them?
Up until I moved to Atlanta in '96,
Mm-hmm.
I was probably within 30 miles of my parents. Even when they retired and moved to Missouri, I moved to St. Louis for a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I came down here. So
Mm-hmm.
not too far.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, being an airline employee, I'm able to kind of get back and forth when I need to,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
relatively simply
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought, well, maybe I should just pop in to Logan and just do a
Yeah.
live right there in front of everybody.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Yep. 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 You can be down
But
for any time.
as I was getting ready today, I realized I didn't have a camera. I thought my monitor did. And I went, oh, well, I got to go do that. I can't disappoint Chris.
Yeah.
Um, so we
I'm
fixed
glad
that and a
you.
few other issues too.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Oh my goodness. That's interesting. So, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have.
Hmm.
I have. I'm the youngest of three,
Okay.
and my middle brother. He also passed away from cancer 12
Mm.
years ago, and my older brother lives in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
So
What's
yeah, it's the two of us now.
wow. That's yeah, it's crazy, right? Oh my goodness. But I think it's wonderful that you have these hobbies that you've been able to pick up over the years and they bring you a lot of joy, right?
They do. They really do.
Mhm.
That and along with my five dogs that I have, um,
Five
I am able
dogs.
to. Oh yeah, I have five. I have five little Chihuahuas. Before that, I had a whole pack of cockers, but I'll save that story for another time. But currently, I have five Chihuahuas, and
Oh my
they're all
goodness.
royal. They're just all royal. I have Duchess, Countess, Queenie, Prince, and Princess. The last two, Prince and Princess, they came to me this year, or I'm sorry, last right around December. They were the last two brother and sister of a litter, and the lady just could not
Oh.
do anything with them,
Yeah.
and she was gonna send them off to a shelter. And I said, well, I'm a shelter. Send them over to me. I'll take care of them.
Oh.
So I've got twins. I can't imagine. Probably out of my entire 55 years, there's maybe 2 or 3 years I have not had any dogs in my life
Wow.
because I just got to have them.
Yeah, you got to have them. You have that real soft spot in your heart for those animals,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm. You have a soft spot in your heart for a lot of things. It's always interesting to me, some of the comments that you make. You're a very sentimental person. I love that.
Very much,
Mm-hmm.
very much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is from my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I my first house when I got it, it was furnished with what I call early relative furniture because it was a piece from one family member or another, and I still have some of those pieces.
Oh, yes.
I have, I have I have a coffee table and end table set that was in a house I grew up in. That was my parents, so it's
Mm.
got to be at least 50, 60 years
Mm-hmm.
old, and they're solid maple.
Yeah.
Probably got my teeth marks on them somewhere, but
Yes. Yep.
I do enjoy. I surround myself with with family things because when the best thing I think you can do in your life, if you possible, is you never leave home. But
Mm-hmm.
we know that's not realistic,
Right.
and our jobs take us one direction, or in your case, your children are getting married and they're
Mm-hmm.
starting their own family, going a different
Mm-hmm.
direction. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to stay home.
Right.
So I surround myself with those things. So I keep that's my connection back to my family.
I like that. I love that. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Um, so Larry, over the years, you must have had some things that have stood out in your mind as some of your favorite tips that you've learned from different people, or something that you've picked up on yourself. Sometimes when we run into trouble with a sewing issue, we can come up with different solutions and stuff. Do you have anything that you want to share today that is like some favorite tips that you have?
Well, I think so. I see a lot of patterns that are out there, and a lot of them are what I call a quick method pattern.
Sure.
It's taking a traditional block and chopping it up to make it quicker. Where I will look at that same block and I'll say, okay, how can I get these pieces done with less seams? Because we all know seams are a friend, but they're our enemy when we're going to put our blocks together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, you wind up stashing every block that you build.
Right.
Um, so I just was looking at a pattern the other day when I was back home. I was back home in Missouri last weekend,
Uh-huh.
and um, that particular block basically is just squares and blind geese. The
Mm-hmm.
whole thing was done in half square triangles. I
Ah,
said, okay, well, I can do that. I'll just go back and put it because I know what the finished size is. I'll just put it back together the way I like it to reduce seams. I also take every opportunity to watch what somebody else is doing
mm-hmm.
because it just may work. Right
You
now,
never
there's a
know.
current rage on pressing our seams open versus to one side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, I I'm not one to press open. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to learn that way, and
Right.
it's much easier just to roll that iron to the right
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes,
press
I
it
would
down.
agree. Yeah, yeah.
But I have tried it, and I have found in some of the smaller blocks, the 3-inch blocks, you really probably do need to press open because it just gets too bulky
Too bulky.
when you try to put anything together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true. What are some of your favorite things that, like, if I don't know, like an ideal sewing day? What would let's find out what is an ideal day. Let's just do an ideal day. What is a typical day for Larry Doc's daughter? You get up in the morning, you do,
Yeah, I
and
do.
that's good. That's good. That's always a plus when you can be up,
Absolutely.
right? Standing up. Yep. So then, how does your day go?
Well, if it's through the week, the Monday through Friday week, my day, I usually wake up around 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, don't use an alarm clock. I think those cause heart attacks. I just don't believe in them. I just wake up,
Wow.
you know, and
Uh,
I've always been that way ever since I was a child. I was lucky. I think I got it from mama. Between the two of us, every night when I was younger, it was probably maybe 6 hours sleep tops. We just didn't sleep a lot.
uh-huh.
So I get up and I
Wow.
scramble around with the dogs and get them out and get them going for their day, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll head to work and I'll usually spend my at least 8 or 10 hours there.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll come home and first thing I do when I get home is let the dogs out, and then I go take my sewing machine out of the closet and put it on my kitchen table because if I don't, I won't get any sewing done that night. I
Wow.
don't I don't set up in a room yet.
Uh-huh.
Um, so my cucina is my quilting room.
I like that. I like that. That's good. And then you're sewing the rest of the day.
Yeah, as much as I can. Yeah,
Wow.
at least an hour and a half to 2 hours a night. Because quite honestly, as I tease my friend Karen, I said, I really love you, but I said my purchases have outpaced my production. I have got to start sewing.
Gotta start sewing. Exactly. Oh my goodness, how true that is. I bet a lot of people can relate to that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so so you're sewing. What would be some of your favorite things that you love to sew? I know you love Kansas Troubles. I remember,
Oh, yes.
reading that. You're a huge fan of Kansas Troubles. What else do you love to sew with or sew? What projects? What kind of projects?
I do mostly quilts. I have started to venture out into the table toppers and the table
Mm-hmm.
runners.
Mm-hmm.
And just a tip for everybody on the 10-minute table runner, take
Mm-hmm.
20.
Ah,
It's worth it.
it's worth it.
You can do it in 10 minutes, but if you take 20, you're going to be able to get
Yeah.
your border on the side just a little bit better than what you thought.
Yeah.
I'm trying new things. I don't do a lot of bags or anything like that. I don't do a tremendous amount of embroidery. I do cross stitch. Now
Okay.
that's something I'll do
Oh.
usually after 9 o'clock at night.
Mm.
I do the 32 count 2/2 on linen,
Okay. Wow.
and that's one of my favorites because you really have to kind of focus. But it's just you put a light next to your chair, and you know it takes about an hour to maybe get 3-4 inches done,
Uh-huh.
depending on what else you're doing.
Yeah.
But that has a lot of meaning to me. I have cross stitch that hangs at the end of my staircase. It's a lavender and lace, and it was a Christmas one. It's called Noel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on vacation in Panama City when 9/11 hit.
Mm.
And literally, I couldn't go anywhere. Air travel stopped. Even as an employee, I couldn't get out and do anything. And I literally stitched that entire thing in that week I was down there.
Wow. Yeah,
So that one's very special to me. And then I have
absolutely.
four angels that hang on my staircase. That took me
Oh,
about 3 years to get done, but
oh,
they were well worth it.
holy cannoli. Wow. Do you have any that you could show us that are happen to be
Um,
by you?
I can. Yeah, let me go run real
Okay.
quick. Give me
Okay.
1 second.
Okay. Sounds good. All righty. Oh, isn't he fun to listen to? Such a great guy. Deborah said, my purchases are outpacing my production. Favorite new quote. I love that. And Mary Carol, you're saying, a man after my own heart. You love cross stitch as well. Wonderful. Oh, good. We're going to see some of his work. Yes, Joanne, this is Larry. Oh, are you there, my friend? You're looking frozen. Mm-hmm. Larry. Uh-oh, we might have lost him. Our own Kimber Phyllis. Larry, Larry, Larry. Huh. I think he's frozen. Larry, do you want to try to get on and then click back on the link if you can hear me? Do. Yeah, Joanne says it's nice to put a face to all the wonderful and encouraging comments. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, looks like he just signed off and he's going to try to get back on here in just a minute. So we'll see if we can get him back on. All right. So fun. Yeah, I love putting faces and names together. It just makes everything so much more personalized. I know I jinxed him, right, Jess? Oh, I just wanted to see his cross stitch. So hopefully he'll be back here in just a minute. So, yay, Heidi says she has a Kimber fella who supports her hobby. And he's trying to get back on. Let me see if he... Okay. We got to love technology. There we go. Looks like he's joining us. Hey, Larry. You're back. Uh-oh, but we can't hear you. Uh-oh, hold on. There we go. Can you say something? Oh, there
I
we
hear
go.
you.
Okay.
Okay,
Phew.
good.
Okay, good, good, good,
Oh,
good.
okay.
You're
Sorry
back.
for the
You're back.
interruption, folks. As I say in the airline business, it's Freaky Fridays and Silly Saturdays. You just never know what's going to happen.
You just never know.
So
All right.
this is one that hopefully you can see that. This is one that I did.
Wow. Oh, wow, that's
This is a series of
beautiful.
four. It's the Nora Corbett, which is Mirabella, and she did the Four Season Queens. And I've got one in each one done. I just haven't got them framed yet.
Oh my goodness, that's stunning. Oh,
Well, thank you.
Larry, hold it up a little bit closer to the camera if you wouldn't mind. Look at that. Oh my goodness, and all those variations of color. I'm going to pull me off the screen for a minute so we can see you more up close. Wow, that is really, really gorgeous, Larry.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Are you drawn to certain designs?
I'm very traditional. I like things that I'm very Victorian in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I do most things that are traditional. They just speak to me.
Mm.
I've ventured out and tried to do a few modern things, and
Mm.
I've even done some cave facet fabric, if you can believe it. But you know,
That's really
and I'm
outside
working
your
on.
comfort zone.
I know, and I'm working on Nebula. You
What do
know,
you
so
know? Yes, you are in Nebula. That's right. And how's
yes,
that
I
going?
am.
How's that going?
Um, it's going. I have pressed everything and got it ready to go. I just haven't made that first cut yet. I'm doing some practice blocks with some just plain muslin, just to
Yes.
make sure that that my seams line up, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a good practice run to go do a couple of those blocks.
There you go. That's not a bad idea. Hey, Mike, could you grab me the charger, please? Um, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, Mike got on to say hello to you, Larry.
Well, hello, Mike.
Hey, Larry.
Oh, he works for Delta. He needs to take a flight out here to Utah, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
Right here, this side.
Oh, there you go. I can go.
It's beautiful country out there. I mean, I know y'all get snow and all that, but you don't get as much snow as for the rest of the good weather I think that you all enjoy out there.
Yeah, that's right. We do love it. We do. Let's see. I'm looking at comments that people are making. Gloria wants to know if you're in a quilt guild.
No, I'm not actually.
No, it's
Surprisingly enough.
it's kind of like this is its own little quilt guild, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, again, there's so many tremendous people around that are I'm seeing on different platforms as well,
Mm-hmm.
and in different shops. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
again, from coast to coast,
Yeah.
I think the quilting community is so united,
Mm-hmm.
and
Amazing.
they do so much for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Mary Carroll said, next time I teach a cross stitch class, I'm calling Larry in as a guest teacher. There you go. His work is beautiful. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And Debbie said, it's our favorite 3 at 3 guy.
Well, I hope I'm enjoyable for everybody, and I appreciate every one of you for allowing me to be part of this community.
Oh, absolutely. We were talking, you and I, a little bit earlier before we got on about, you being a gentleman and being a part of the quilting world. It's not something you see as often, as women. It's so perhaps you feel a little bit in the minority. What are your thoughts on that?
I really don't. I don't really feel in the minority about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I've seen just as many women out there that do fabulous, woodworking
Yes.
and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of my nieces happens to be an auto mechanic.
Yeah, that's
So I don't.
wonderful.
Yeah, so I don't think
So
anything
you
about it
don't
at
get
all.
you don't get tied into those stereotypes, right?
I don't. I
Good.
don't. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I have got some strange looks when I walk into some shops,
Uh-huh.
primarily from the owners that have not, met me or anything yet.
Sure. Right. Right.
But after a couple of times of showing up, they're like, he really does do something.
He really does know what he's talking about, right? Because you really are very, very gifted. What are some of the projects you're working on right now?
Well, I've got one here that I'm doing for one of my coworkers. I did a quilt for which I don't have a picture of, unfortunately. I did a quilt for her
Mm-hmm.
for her 35th Deltaversary, as we call them. She'd been at Delta 35 years, and I found pictures of Delta items from 1979 when she started, and I printed it on fabric, and I also had fabric printed, and I made quilts for her. But so this is for her granddaughter.
Okay, let's take a look.
And I saw, and her granddaughter's name is Harper. Mm-hmm. So for the folks that know Chelsea.
Oh yes.
This is her Harper's Garden pattern.
Yes, Sherry and Chelsea. Yep.
Oh, good. I'm showing the front. I want to make sure I wasn't showing the backside because that's not always the prettiest. But I absolutely love this block.
Uh-huh.
I love Ohio Stars. They're very traditional.
Yes.
And I think when I go to do the back, rather than just do a plain back, I'm gonna paper piece alphabet blocks that spell out her name, and I'm gonna put those down the center.
Mm-hmm. Neat.
Um,
I like that idea.
so that was one of my favorites. And then this tapestry one here, I modified it because I was not going to do the border. I
Okay.
just didn't like it. This one was this was a block of the month that I got at my local quilt shop, and hopefully I'm not making a mess of everything. I'll try to open it up, but my ears are plugged in. But this was a wing and a prayer block, and if anybody out there is doing the canyon block of the month, it's from Wing and a Prayer as well.
That's gorgeous.
I will tell you that for this particular quilt, there was a lot of bias edges, and I think Canyon's going to be the same way. So when I did my blocks before I actually cut them, where it said to trim off the triangles, I actually stitched a quarter of an eighth of an inch around. So when I cut it, it would reduce the bias from stretching.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
And I do that a lot with paper piecing. I'll do my block, and before I pull the paper off, I'll stitch around the block, the edge of the block. That way, it keeps it from twisting.
Yeah, that makes total sense. No, that really makes a lot of sense. I love that. How many quilts do you think you've made over the years? Any idea?
Well, I'd say in the last 2 years I've done 9.
9
in the last 2 years. Yeah.
Wow, that is quite a few.
There's a quilt at my mama's house that I made when they retired and moved to Missouri. I did a log cabin quilt. One of the quilt as you go. As a matter of fact, it was one of the first quilts I did. And of course, that's long been put in the closet, because it's gotten worn and tattered. But Mama just couldn't get rid of it because I made it.
Of course, that's what good moms do.
Yes.
Wow, that's neat. That is wonderful. Any other projects you've been doing?
No, that's it. Other than cooking, because I got to eat.
Well, that's good.
I do like to cook.
I know you said you had a lasagna in the oven. Yeah. That sounds yummy.
I did. I did a vegetarian lasagna today.
Nice.
I thought, well, I'll just try something different.
Yeah, good for you.
We'll see how that turned out. I'm a bit of a carnivore. I do enjoy my beef and chicken. So.
Yeah. No, that's so fun. I know that the other day, when I was doing 3 at 3, you had said something like, "I'm just working on a block right now." So it's fun that you tune in almost every day. I mean, I'm so grateful. It's 5:00 your time.
Yes.
And you tune in day in and day out, and you just sew along. It's like you're just sewing with your friends, right?
Absolutely. Thursdays is probably my busy day between work, and there's after your 3 at 3, there's another 3 or 4 shops that are going on all around 7 o'clock time.
Yes.
I'm like, y'all, now come on now. I have a laptop, I got a phone, I got a desktop. I have my own little quilting sports center going on in my office on Thursday nights.
I love that. I love it. Beth wants to know what your favorite piecing thread is.
My favorite now, especially over the last year, has been Aurifil.
Yeah.
I never really thought much about it.
Yeah.
I will say I've stayed away from a few, and I'm not going to call them out. That's just bad business. But there's been a few I just wouldn't use.
Yeah.
And then I found one in a big box store that I really liked, and then I got a sample of Aurifil somewhere. I'm not sure how it came to life. But I went, oh, this is really and there's so much on that.
There is
one spool you can get probably 2.5 quilts on.
Yeah. There's a lot of thread on that.
So it now has become my favorite.
Yeah. I'm an RFL girl too. Love it. Love RFL.
There you go.
No, that's great. Any other questions that people might have for Larry? Let us know. Um, let's see. Kathy, Larry is in Georgia. She's wondering where you're located.
Yeah, I'm just south of Atlanta. It's 25 miles, but when you put the Atlanta traffic in there, it takes about 45 minutes to get home.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, let's see. So sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, so there we go. Gloria says she calls
Yeah,
herself an RFL snob. Best thread ever. There you go.
there you go.
Now, Gloria also mentioned, I saw earlier in the comments, she mentioned that she joined our club because of you, Larry, because of a recommendation from
Well,
you.
I'm glad. I am glad. I tell you, it's just something else. There's not that many shops that do, and Chris, you've done a wonderful job putting that together, and Jess and everybody else that's involved in it. And there's quite a bit of I don't do a lot of it. I do, but just looking at some of those items, it inspires me to go find a block that I
Yeah,
can do a quilt that will give me the same result as something that was embroidered.
sure. Yeah,
And the club page itself, the Facebook club page, everyone, and they're all talented. I must say, beautiful things in there, and you can just enjoy and just peruse around for an hour or so. Even if you only do it once a week, you're going
yeah,
to find something new. I guarantee you.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So I'm glad everybody's enjoying the club.
we thank you for your recommendation. That really has meant a lot to us, Larry. Um, Before we leave today, I always like to end with asking our guest, what life advice has served you well? We'd love to hear about it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because it doesn't. I guess I always think about it. It just doesn't always pop up. But when I was younger, one
Mhm.
of the things I hated to do when I was a child was do dishes. Just couldn't stand it. Just couldn't stand it.
Mhm.
And my grandmother, or my dad's mom, being the gracious lady she was, and she had a lot of pearls of wisdom, and this was one of them. She said, "I know doing dishes is not fun, but she said, look at it this way: it's a sign you had something to eat when somebody else didn't." I have never forgot
Mm,
that, and I was 10 years old. I
that
will never forget that,
that is
and
powerful.
that has served me well.
That is
Very,
powerful.
very, very powerful statement,
Mm-hmm.
and something that I don't think grandparents know they're wise, but I don't know that they know the impact that when they say something that their grandchild remembers.
Just th-
That has stuck with me.
just think, you were 10 years old, and that
Yeah,
has stuck with you your entire life. That's pretty incredible.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. We have a couple more questions before we leave. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Sure.
Um, Cheryl wants to know, what colors are your favorite to work with?
Um, if it's anything that looks like Kansas troubles, I'm doing it. I don't even look at the line. It just says Kansas troubles. I'll send it over to the
Yeah,
house. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
I mean, I like them because they're traditional. And the
Mm-hmm,
one thing about that particular line of fabric, it
mm-hmm.
doesn't matter which line you get it from. They all work together,
They all work together.
100%.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Definitely.
I've got a stash, and surprisingly enough, I have very few duplicates. I figured I would have a lot, but I don't.
You don't. Well, I'm impressed, Larry, that you would go from Kansas trebles to Tula.
Hey, that nebula really has a nice pop to it.
Yes, it
It
does.
it probably will wind up being a wedding gift for my niece that's getting married later this
Oh,
year, but I'm not going to tell her
oh,
that.
oh, how nice. Hey,
Yeah.
my sister Kim is on here right now.
Hey, Kim.
She said, have you ever thought about designing your own quilts? You have a really good eye for beautiful design.
I haven't. I do have my software. Matter of fact,
Uh-huh.
I just got my the latest version of Blockbase, which I can't wait to play with that later on
Ooh,
today.
yeah.
Um, but I did, like I mentioned earlier, I think I did design the one quilt that was very specific. They were traditional blocks, but I actually played with photo with pictures and printing it on fabric, and
Mm-hmm.
actually having fabric printed with Delta logos and things on it.
Oh,
Um,
neat.
yeah, I think it was spoon flour that
Yes.
you can
Mm-hmm.
you
To
can
print your
do
own
your own
fabric.
your own printing with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and of course, it took a couple of tries because
Uh,
what I thought was the right size when it came back was like the quarter yard, which is the one logo. There wasn't ever. Yeah, that didn't turn out like I wanted. So I had to, continue to pair it
yeah.
with it. But that is something I do want to do.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Um, Betty's Joe says, so glad to have had a chance to get to know Larry a little more. So very nice. I think there's a lot of people who share that sentiment. And Linda wants to know, do you quilt your own quilts or do you have them go to the spa? I like that, Linda. That's a great way to look at it.
Excuse me.
That's
It
a great,
depends on the size, but the majority of my quilts are usually queen or above, so they usually go to the spa
yeah.
because I don't have a long arm,
Uh-huh.
and quite honestly, my son probably 20 years now. It's a good old fashioned portable brother.
That's
It's
great.
got probably 60 stitch three. That's the one thing. They come with all these great stitches, but we really don't use them all.
Right. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do. I send them out to the spa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's after I use my flatter or my best press, which is a spa day for your block.
There you go. That is true. I like
It
that.
makes it smooth.
I like that. Kenzie said he doesn't have a long arm yet.
Oh, I know. I
Yet.
know. So
That's
Kenzie,
cool.
I did pick up a brochure for a crescendo today, so
Yeah.
I'm planning my budget.
Nice, nice. You'll love that machine. That's
That does seem
awesome.
to be the one I keep leaning towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful machine. All right. Well, Larry, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a lot of fun. So, and I'm
I'm
glad
very
for the
honored.
technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Chris. And again, I can't. You and Judy and Daniela and Karen, I can't say enough good things about y'all.
Well, thank you. That
I
means a lot.
appreciate you very much.
Thank you. That means so much. All right. If you guys have any questions or any other questions, type them in here, and I bet Larry wouldn't mind going through later on and answering those. But it really has been a great hour to be with you. So thank you for taking the time to hang out with us today.
You're welcome. Happy Easter to everybody and enjoy your weekend.
Same to you, sir. All right.